without further ado, in order to try to make this council run as smoothly as possible, we're going to start by just going through the motions to establish if people want to talk about them or amend or discuss them any further at all, otherwise they will pass without opposition. So, the changes to election motion, number one, we have to discuss. The amending Oxford Student Disability Communities OSDC Constitution, would anybody like to discuss or amend this motion further at all in any form, or does anybody oppose this motion? Seen none, so that motion passes. Funding for transport to Yards Wood, would anybody like to... Yes, people would like to discuss the motion further, that's fine, we'll come back to it. Then motion number 4, the student cycling and Claudia Charter, would anybody like to discuss this motion? Yes, sorry, we have received an amendment in Resolves 1 to change the word sign to endorse. So, Resolves 1 would now read to mandate the VP Charities and Community to endorse the Claudia Charter on behalf of Oxford SU. So, does anybody have any questions or objections to the motion in its current form? Or decide to amend it? None? Yes, okay, so we will come back to that motion. And motion 5 we also are going to have to discuss. So, to clarify, we have passed motion 2 and we will return to the other motions in due course. Onto the main agenda of the meeting. The minutes of the meeting should have been circulated. Are there any questions about the minutes or any matters arising from the minutes from last week? None seen, so it's ratified. And I am now going to hand over to Jim, the returning officer, to run the elections in council that we have today.
Okay, so we have quite a busy schedule for elections. And we're doing nominations committee first. Would anybody like Edward to host for us, if he is in the room? Is Edward in the room? It's a good question. Okay, so we'll move straight to a vote. Indeed. Okay, so as usual, press 1 to vote for Edward, and number 2 for Ron, and 0 for abstention. And we'll have about 10 seconds to vote. Okay, voting is closed, and we have Edward elected 32 to 9. Now we will move on to steering committee, and we have our first candidate, Rita. Would anybody else would like Rita to host if she's in the room? Okay, is Rita in the room? Nope, okay, we'll move straight to voting again.
Can we clarify how many positions there are for the steering committee versus how many people are
There's just one nomination for this one. Yeah, don't fun comes later. And Rita is elected 38 to 7. So now we are going to have a bit of a complicated election. We have 4 people that have nominated for scrutiny committee. And there are 2 positions available. Would anyone like the candidates that are here to host? Yeah, loads of people. So could we have the 4 candidates up to host? That's all right. Okay, so we're going to go in the order that they're in the slides, and you're going to have 30 seconds or so to talk. Please give it time, and then we'll have questions. And I do remind everyone that questions should be addressed to everybody, not just to an individual candidate. Yeah. Yeah, why you think you're the best candidate for the job. Oh, you can't? Alright. So we'll, yeah, if you would like to start.
Hi everyone, my name is Carla. So basically I'd like to get involved because I've been on quite a few projects over, during my uni days, and now I'm doing my master's. And I am really into project management, and I've had quite a lot of experience both with international teams and within non-governmental organizations. Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to.
Okay, thank you very much, and we'll move on to Lucas.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Lucas. I'm a third year doing History Economics at Wharton. I would like to be on Scrutiny Committee. I was SU President last year, really enjoyed it, loved going to housing councils. I went to everyone last year. And I want to keep being involved with housing council. And since I've done some student representing, I think I'll be good at scrutinising student representing.
Thank you very much, and we'll finally move on to Anisha's first.
Hi, so I'm Anisha, I'm a second year at Queen's. I think I would be good for the Scrutiny Committee because I was head girl of my sixth form, and so I've had experience with scrutiny. I had to interview people, like when we had event planning and when I had to decide what roles would go where. I've had people, so I've been able to hold people accountable before, and I've had I'm really heavily involved with university extracurriculars and societies. I'm in the Labour Club, and I write for the Oxford Student. I'm an effective communicator, and I think that would be really important in talking to the sabbatical trustees and holding them to account.
Okay, thank you very much. And we have a fourth candidate that is nominated, who is not here. Their name is Kanan, so that's his information. Would anybody like to see any of those information slides again? Okay, and now we'll take questions for the candidates. Does anyone have any questions for the candidates? And they should be aimed at all three of them. No? No takers? Okay, oh, we have one.
Tom Maxwell, SUV here. I was wondering, this is probably more of a question to the chair, so I'll leave it up to the chair if it's kind of relevant. But did the candidate who is not asking today give a reason why he would not be here?
The candidate was emailed reminding him that he should ask at this time, and no email was received to him. Do you have any more questions? Okay, so you feel free to sit down. Okay, so the voting process now. So we're going to have slides in a row, starting first preference, then second preference. At each slide, you get one vote. If you feel that you don't want to cast any more preference votes, just stop. So the next slide that will come up will be for your first preference for candidate for Scrutiny Committee, and then we'll do the maths at the end. Okay, we'll finish this slide in 3, 2, 1. And now for second choice. Finishing in 3, 2, 1. Finished. Third choice. Finishing in 3, 2, 1. Fourth choice. Finishing in 3, 2, 1. And finished. Okay, that's great. We'll count the announcement.
Yeah, so that election, the result of that election will be announced in due course. So to return to the agenda, we are now going to take reports from questions to sabbatical trustees, executive officers, representatives of the Oxford SU campaigns, and RAG. So I'm going to begin by inviting the sabbatical trustees up, and I am going to enforce the council 90-second speech limit on what they have to say.
Hello Hello, Council. Is the timer on? Hello, Tom Barringer, he, him, Vice President of Charities and Community. So, I'm not sure if you heard, but Veggie Pledge launched on Monday. That's been my kind of, the thing that I've been spending most time on this fortnight. There's going to be a discount scheme this year, sort of various different businesses, and hopefully more of those, there'll be more of those announced through the month. So different vegetarian discounts that you can get with that. If you'd like a poster for that, email me. So student cycling-wise, there's a motion coming up decided to kind of make the city safer for you as a cyclist, and if you would like to be a safer cyclist yourself, you can still get lots and lessons by contacting the SU, contacting me. Yep, there are also lots of other things that I've been doing rather piecemeally. Lots of green initiatives like the Green Impact Awards and the Skills Survey from the NUS. Governance changes keep rumbling on. And yeah, my campaigns all the campaigns that I sponsor are sort of still being amazing. Homelessness Awareness Week is in 4th week, Living Wage Week is in 5th week. Tickets for Rad Lost, sold out. So yes, thank you to my campaigners for making my job a lot easier and driving me significantly. Questions or concerns, email me or ask me.
Hi, Catherine, she, her, Vice President, Access and Academic Affairs. The last 2 weeks have been pretty busy. I have sent out the interview helpers survey to all JCR and to all colleges that do undergraduate admissions. So if you could please push your admissions offices to fill that out, that would be really, really useful. Again, working with our campaigns, had a really successful meeting with Class Acts last weekend. I've been doing a lot of work with our access staff, so I'm sure a lot of you saw the press on Friday, so working on that and building up some of my projects for later in the year.
Hello everyone, I'm Marianne. I'm the Vice President of Graduates and I use she, her pronouns. Since the last council, I've been to quite a few committees. Been spending a lot of time at Wellington Square recently. Lot of different committees. For instance, I've been to the Quality Assurance Subcommittee and also the Quality Assurance Working Group. We have both. And in addition to that, I've had quite a few meetings with MCR presidents. Really great to talk to you. I'm learning a lot from you. Then I had a chance to meet the JCR presidents at the press-con, which was really fun. I haven't been an undergrad here myself, so there's a lot for me to learn from that as well. And finally, I have had the chance to meet some of our new divisional reps. We still have a few vacant positions, so if any of you would like to get involved with the work we do with the divisions, please feel free to send me an email.
Hi Council, I'm Kate, I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the SU President. Like Marianne, I've spent a lot of the last 2 weeks in committees and meeting all the MCR presidents, but also all the JCR presidents. On that note, if there are any of you out there that we haven't met, just drop us an email, we'd love to take you for a coffee and get to know you. Most exciting thing to come out of my committees is a project about online reading lists, which massively excited me as a humanities student that spent half my degree looking at reading lists. So be excited for what's coming in the future. I'm taking on the lead sponsor for that. We also spent the beginning of our week, Faheen and I, at NUS Zones Conference, which I went to and found out that the Vice President for Welfare has pretty much exactly the same priorities as me for the year, so that's pretty exciting that what the NUS is doing is lining up with a lot of what we're doing. Really cool stuff on student housing and mental health, and a great workshop on breaking down the barriers to sport. On that note, Katie and I have been working all summer on This Girl Can, which is sort of a women's empowerment sport project. It's a national campaign. We're bringing it to Oxford in 7th week. It'll be a whole week of free activities for women to get involved in, ranging from like free sessions at the pool, to tasting sessions for lots of sport, and a big kind of celebration event at the end of the week. So look out for that when it comes. I'm also have been doing some work with a charity called Stand Alone.
10 seconds.
We're bringing some work around exchange students. I'll be looking for people to get involved. So look out for some comments from me because I'd love some people's come and help me with that project. Thank you. Have a great week.
Hello, I'm Faheen. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Vice President for Welfare and Equal Opportunities. As Kate said, we were at Zones this week. That was quite interesting. The National Union of Students. You used an acronym, sorry. Yeah, National Union of Students, and that was really interesting. I got a lot of information about how higher education is going to be impacted by Brexit. There are some uncertainties, of course, but actually there's a lot of things that we can work on as the student union with the university. I've also learned more about how we can collaborate with other SUs and try to bring some of their projects that are really relevant to us to campus so that we can actually improve the Oxford experience for you all and we beyond this room. There was also the launch of the Poverty Commission, actually by Shakira Martin, who's the NUS president. And that was really exciting. We get to do more and more work. We have class acts, and actually we are doing more work on trying to support low-income students accessing Oxford and accessing education more generally. I've also been working on the Prevent Review, so the Conference of Colleges, which is like a liaison for all the colleges across Oxford, is going to get a report by an external reviewer on Prevent and how it's been impacting certain groups on campus. So I've been feeding into that, and hopefully we'll be able to share that when you want it out. I've also been attending a couple of forums, particularly welfare forums, which is a subcommittee of the Conference of Colleges, because they're really invested in trying to make it easier to access welfare support, no matter which college you're from, which is really exciting because one of my priorities for this year is to try and harmonise what we have. Any questions, please contact me on my email. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm the Vice President for Women. I use she, her pronouns. I have done a lot more in the fortnight than what is on this post-it, but I thought, for the interest of being short and sweet, I would just inform you of the things that are on a bit of a time-sensitive deadline. So first and foremost is consent workshops. Obviously, they've been rolled out over Freshers Week. Anybody who has any sway in your common room, please remind your freshers to fill in the survey. We really rely on that survey to change and adapt the consent workshops each year so they can get better and better. The link to fill in the survey is on our website. The second thing is first responder training, which provides you training for if you would like to find out more about how to compassionately listen and deal with disclosures of sexual violence. The training session this Friday is now full up, but there's another training session 5 till 7 on the 3rd of November. You can sign up on the What's On page on our website. The other thing is the JCR Equality and Diversity Community. The first event is going to be happening on the 15th of November. If you are a JCR rep or officer in a liberation or equality and diversity position, please come along, please sign up. It sort of works like a press con. We're really hoping to have a lot of people there. Again, go on the website, you'll find the link to sign up there. Any more questions, just let me know.
Thank you. And now, do we have any questions to the sabbatical trustees? Yes, at the back there.
Hello, I'm Tom, St Catherine's College, he, him. I have a question about the rebrand, if that's okay. Is it true, as was reported in Cherwell a few months ago, that it cost over £17,000? What exactly was the money spent on, whatever it was? And also, was it approved by this council at any point?
Kate, she, her, Oxford SU. Firstly, I don't have the data on me currently, so I can't answer that question accurately. I brought an update to council last time, sorry. It has been published, it's on our website, and I can follow up with you outside of this room, because I don't want to say anything that I don't have the data for on me. In terms of coming to council, it was a strategic decision made by the organisation. It's been the last 2.5 years in the process. There's been lots of student consultation along the way. The biggest thing to come out of that was that students wanted to change, and that's what we hope we've delivered.
Thank you. Any more questions to the sabbatical trustees?
Can I add to the answer?
You can say more if you want to, Tom, yes.
It's worth mentioning as well that the money was not just spent on a name. There's a lot that's going to be changing recently. We are developing a sort of a comprehensive strategy about what we're actually doing as an organisation, which we only had the very bare bones of before. We're sort of revamping our website, whatever we're building. We've moved from 2 Worcester Street to 4 Worcester Street, so it's a kind of short way down the road, but it actually means that we have a lobby and we can have students in our student union. The entire union is changing, and it's, yeah, that money was spent on a lot more than just adding a couple of letters to our logo.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? Yes, in the green jumper.
Dave Rogers, Merton College, Hingham. Following up on that previous question, could you summarise succinctly in about maybe half a minute or so what the main changes to Oxford SU have been due to the rebrand?
It's mainly been the strategy, I suppose. Oh yes, with strategy building website logo.
I think I'll just add to that there's a lot more to learn. It's very much a process that we're rolling out. Obviously, the brand itself was launched on Results Day, but the website was up and running as of 2 weeks ago, and it's still being updated. I think one of the main things for all of us is about getting out there and stopping being an organisation that sits behind our computers and getting out and engaging with you guys. Hopefully you've seen a difference already, but we hope we can improve that over the course of this year. But it is an ongoing process. Not everything's kind of been released yet, and there's far more to come from us.
Thank you. Any further questions? Yes, at the back again.
Thank you. I appreciate that there was a lot more said than maybe just the brand. So is there some detailed breakdown of exactly what is being spent on? I don't just mean words like strategy or getting at actually concrete what's been provided for this figure, and if there's not, would it be possible for that to be made available?
Hey, Shiha, Oxford SU. There was something published online over the summer, but as I said, because I don't have the data on me, I can follow up with you. I'll send you an email straight after council and we'll get that to you. But there wasn't released over the summer. My results anytime.
Thank you. Yes, can we jump again?
James Rogers, Merton College, he, him. In that case, would it be possible to put that information on the website by the end of tomorrow, please, so it's visibly out there and just making clear to students what the money's been spent on, what any remaining money is going to be spent on, etc.?
It's already on the website.
Okay,
Given that this seems to be a topical matter for council, I will ensure it is included in one of the subsequent emails to council, so that everybody can find the information if they would like it. Any more questions to the sabbatical trustees? None seen. So, without further ado, let's move on to ask, would any of the executive officers, representatives of the Oxford SU campaigns or RAG like to give a verbal report? None seen. Would anybody like to ask a question to any of those individuals if they happen to be here? None seen. So that concludes the reports from questions to individuals. So I'm now going to hand back over to Jim to announce the results of the scrutiny committee election.
Okay, so using the single transferable voting system, we have elected Lucas and we have elected Anisha for scrutiny committee. Congratulations to the candidate and condolences for those who failed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right, so now on to items for resolution. There is one item below the line. Would anybody like to bring this item above the line to ratify the divisional board representatives? So I've seen a request to bring this above the line, so we will have this is a procedural motion, so we'll have a vote on this. Would the person suggesting this like to speak for up to 1 minute on why you think we should bring this above the line? So, we have a microphone to you. Don't forget the name, college and pronouns.
Peggy, Regent's Park College, she, her. I would like to bring this up because I'm affected by it. And then I could leave a bit earlier, and I don't think it really matters otherwise.
And would anybody like to... So, right, yes, so I should clarify what below above the line means. So below the line means that we won't discuss it and it will pass without being discussed.
Oh, okay. Take it back.
Would anybody else like to bring the motion above the line? None seen. Right, so that passes and we will move on to the first item on the agenda, changes to elections. I am going to invite the proposer of the motion to give a short speech of up to 2 minutes rather than the usual 3 on this motion.
Hello, everybody. So, yes, Tom Berenger, he, him, Oxford SU, / St Hughes. Thank you, Council, for giving me the second reading. I'm going to quickly recap what this motion means again. Thank you if you were here in first week. Enjoy the recap. If you weren't, welcome. And yeah, I'll just go through it quickly. So last term, there was a motion that came to Council that fell. And we think it fell, and it kind of had a lot of different elections changes in it. But we think it fell for a very specific reason. So what we've done is basically bring the same motion back to Council, but with one minor change. The aspects of the motion that haven't been changed from last time are in notes 4, and I'm happy to answer questions on them. But the bit that did change was the returning office position. Now it was made very clear in the meeting last term that the Council wanted the returning office position to continue to be a student because it was a strategic position. The returning officer needs to make rulings and interpretations, and that, yeah, that's subjective. And since we're a student-led organisation, it would be good to be student-led in this particular issue as well. The bits that we are changing now is that we're giving the returning officer more oversight than they currently have. Because currently the returning officer, the only body that the returning officer answers to is Council. And Council is great, but it meets fortnightly. And in the sometimes very short election periods, such as the ones that the sabbatical officers were elected in,
30 seconds.
It's quite, yeah, it's just not quick enough. So what we've done is we've created an external appeals officer that's going to be like a staff member at another student union or at NUS who provides this service for members for free, these external appeals service, or indeed another student union. Another thing we've done is develop an elections committee, which I'm not going to have time to talk about, but answer questions, please. Ask questions.
Right, so I'll remind Council that this is the final reading of this change, of these changes to the bylaws. So if the motion passes today, then the bylaws changes will come into effect immediately, basically. Well, so yeah, sorry, yes, once it has been approved by the trustee board and the university, indeed. Not immediately, soon. So. Are there any short factual questions? There's time for debate in a moment, but are there any short factual questions which should be short and eliciting a factual response? None seen. Sorry, one there.
Tom's not giving Michael away to answer the question.
I read Catherine's, she had, sorry, I didn't read the agenda as thoroughly as I should have before I came here. Could you just clarify what exactly, and also you said you hadn't explained everything in your short-term speech, can you clarify what exactly this change is going to be? In terms of, like, the returning officer, in terms of the other, like, the things that you said you can get time to speak about?
Okay, yes. So the returning officer stays the same. The returning officer's duties stay the same. The deputy returning officer, well, we currently have a deputy returning officer and we won't if this passes. Because we think that the deputy returning officer doesn't really have very much to do governance-wise. So what we're going to do is the DRO with an elections committee formed of three specially elected students, the returning officer and staff member from the student union. And this body will, the term before, say, the sabbatical elections, make various different rulings on things like what we're going to be doing about slates, what is exactly a mailing list, sort of common rulings and interpretations that happen in student union elections. And these will be things that the returning officer won't be able to change on their own. So that's one of the ways that we're going to be kind of giving the returning officer. We're going to be kind of restricting the returning officer's power a little bit, and the other way that we're going to be doing that is through an external appeals process. So for example, at the moment the returning officer can make a ruling like all sabbatical officers must wear a balloon on their head through the nominations process in order that people know who they are. This kind of motion we think is clearly wrong in a kind of quote-unquote clearly way, and so motions like that, previously we'd have to take to council, interpretations like that, we'd have to take to council to overturn. Instead, now we're going to take to some external appeals officer somewhere and get them overturned quickly.
as we would have to do in a short election campaign process. Yeah, that's kind of, so you asked what's going to change? Returning officers is going to stay the same, DRO is going to disappear. Okay.
Are there any further short factual questions? Yes, there.
Hi, Lucas Waterman, he, him. What is the mechanism by which issues that have been adjudicated by the external appeals officer are regularised into, does it get brought back to Alger Council?
It's my interpretation. It's my understanding that the external appeals officer's decision is final, but that will. Is that? Would you mind if I consulted with my DS? Is that correct?
Sorry, I'm a bit confused by the question.
The question is the external appeals officer's decision final?
Yeah, so there's only specific things that can go to the external appeals officer. So if a complaint about a ruling that the RO makes, it will be decided by the external appeals officer, and then that will be final. Actually, that's a lie. It can go to the university after that. That's with all complaints through the SU. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I just wondered if that was if that ruling then set a precedent, or if the set precedent had to come back to Alger Council. So if you get a complaint about what is or is not mailing list for one specific election, and the external appeal will decide what is or is not mailing list, does that stand forever, or is that returned to the discretion of the returning officer for the next election?
Well, it's my understanding that that decision would never be taken to the external appeals office in the first place. That would be a matter of interpretation, and on that particular point, the decision of the elections committee would be final, and the returning officer. Yeah, well, on that particular, that's one of the things that the election committee will decide.
Do we have any further short factual questions? Yes, there.
Pepperling out, they then Mansfield. Is this change to elections in response to a specific problem that you've seen, or is this just precautionary, just in case this might happen in this specific situation?
It's precautionary. We've had basically following the rename, we've reviewed a lot of governance documents as accidentally almost, and this came up, so we thought we'd change it.
Any more questions? Would anybody like to give a speech in opposition to this motion? None. We have someone who would like to. So you can give a speech in opposition, or we could just move into debate. So we will now move into debate on this motion. You have up to 90 seconds to give a speech. Any push from the floor? Yes, there.
So my understanding,
and college pronouns.
Oh yes, sorry. Rivka, St. Cat's, she had. I might be wrong about this, but I think I was at the Aylesbury Council where this was debated in Trinity, and if I remember rightly, the main points, as is noted up there or on the page before, was about the returning officer not being accountable. To what extent do you think that the changes that you've now made have responded to that concern of accountability, with making it just go to the final word of the external appeals officer?
We have restricted significantly the amount of decisions that can go to the external appeals officer. Beforehand, stuff like what are slates and what is the mailing list of the candidates that I was talking about beforehand, they would have been the decision of a staff member to deal with. That was under the old regs. Under the new regs, that's student decided. If the returning officer is going to have, we found it very hard to make the entire process absolutely without interference from any member of staff anywhere. If the returning officer was going to have any degree of oversight whatsoever. This is a compromise, I suppose, that I'm asking the council to consider.
Points from information. Okay, point of information.
Kate, her Oxford SU, noticed that the external appeals officer isn't someone we expect to kind of come into the normal elections process as such. It's purely in the case of a complaint. In terms of like rulings made, it's now the elections committee. We've taken the slabs off it because we've had a vested interest in what goes on. So we think that's probably better and more accountable. You also have 3 students on there as well as a returning officer, so we hope that kind of helps with some of the problems that we talked before. And I think the biggest thing that came out at that meeting was taking away student opportunities, and we hope that this we've actually given more opportunities. The external appeals officer is kind of there if it's needed, but we hope it wouldn't ever go, nothing would ever go to that.
Thank you. Any further points from the floor? Okay, so we are going to move to vote on this motion. This motion requires a 2/3 majority to pass. Yes, 1 to vote for, 2 to vote against the motion, 0 to abstain. Voting closes in 3, 2, 1. And the motion passes. So these changes will go to the trustee board at the university, and we may very well be electing forward the elections committee at the next meeting of council in 5th week. Okay, right, so now we are going to go, we passed motion 2, so we're going to go on to motion number 3. Can I invite the proposers of this motion to give a speech in proposition of the motion of up to 3 minutes? Okay, so we are going to actually begin with an amendment which is taken as friendly to the motion. So it's quite an extensive amendment, so we're going to begin in Council Notes. In Council Notes 3, replace Movement for Justice brackets MFJ with Oxford Migrant Solidarity brackets OMS. Then secondly, in Notes, replace the whole of Notes 5 with the following. OMS will book 1 coach to transport Oxford students to Yards Wood, which is in an isolated location with few transport links. OMS will subsidise the cost of transport for university students. 3. Replace Note 6, so again we're replacing with the cost of booking a coach is between £500 and £600. A current quote for a 49-seater is £565 and 2 pence. Then we are going to delete the whole of Note 7. In Believes 2, replace like those at MFJ with like those from groups organising the protest. In so in Believes 3, delete as well as enable, delete asylum seekers, and so it will now read, funding transport to this demonstration will evidence student commitment to supporting this cause, as well as enable university students who would otherwise not be able to afford the cost of transport to attend. So there's now no reference to asylum seekers in that. And then in Council Result 1, perhaps the more significant thing is to replace donate £250 to OMJ with donate £300 to OMS. So this amendment to the motion asks for an additional £50, and the amendment is taken as friendly, so I am going to include it in the text of the motion. Does anybody have any questions about that amendment to the motion? Right, so I'm going to invite the proposers to begin by giving a speech of up to 3 minutes in proposition of the motion.
Hi, my name is Rivka, I'm from St Cat's, she, her pronouns. So I think some of you may have heard of Yolswood before. It's an immigration detention centre in Bedfordshire. It indefinitely detains refugees for no given crime, and it's particularly infamous for its human rights abuses, including sexual violence, racist treatment of detainees, completely insufficient healthcare, history of detaining like pregnant and vulnerable women, which is illegal. So the 12th mass demonstration against around the Yolswood Detention Centre is coming up in November, on the 18th of November this year. ALSU has historically supported, or Oxford SU, but formerly ALSU has supported the movement to close down Yolswood in the past. For example, in, I think, February 2016, voting to support shut down Yolswood before and after the then upcoming demonstration. So you may have noticed, well, a lot of amendments that we put forward to this motion. That's because the protests have historically been organised by a group called Movement for Justice, and some recent allegations have emerged against people in their central organising committee. So while we were originally going to bring a motion saying, can we raise X amount of money for Movement for Justice, it's £250 to put towards the cost of them organising it, which then partly subsidises also asylum seekers and things like that. We are now looking into organising a coach ourselves as Oxford Migrant Solidarity from Oxford, possibly in conjunction with Close Campsfield, who are a local migrant activism group. So it's really, really important that in light of what's happened, that this protest still goes ahead, and that the people inside the detention centre do not lose out from what's going on with the wider organisation of MFJ. So we put in a provisional raise in money that we would like, but we're also aware that we only made this decision over the last couple of days to change the motion. So we're partly bringing it here with the awareness of possibly negotiating that, potentially talking to SABs afterwards, or just getting some kind of grant of people approving this kind of expenditure from council. If you all agree that it's something that we should do, which we think is desperately important as students, as people part of an institution that has enough money to support this kind of venture. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to remind Council that this motion would come from Council's discretionary fund. Council's discretionary fund has £1,500 in it for the entire year. No money has yet been spent from the discretionary fund, so if this motion passes, we would release £300 from the discretionary fund, leaving £1,200 remaining. Are there any short factual questions to the proposers of this motion? Yes, at the front here. Don't forget main college pronouns.
Becca, Hartford, she, her. How far into the year are we for the discretionary funding?
So it runs for the academic year. So we had £1,500 at the beginning of Michaelmas term 2017, and it will not be renewed until the next academic year.
Kelly, St John's College, she, her. Has Oxford SU supported this before adding catch last week? And is there a monetary amount that we've supported with before?
I don't think that there has been a monetary amount in the past. A lot of money has been raised from colleges, common rooms, which is what we're seeking to do, but has supported it on social media and supported it.
I think we're going to take a point of information from the front row somewhere here.
Probably is worth mentioning as well that we do have existing policy mandating us to support campaigns to shut down Yolswood as well, past this term last year. And illness in particular, yes. Past more recently.
Thank you. If anybody would like to know in more detail what our policy about Yolswood, Campsfield and other immigration removal centres is, I'm very happy to answer that question. It is in the policy book, which is online on the new Oxford SU website. Right, continuing short factual questions, we're going to go in the middle there. and then up.
Amelia, she, her. Have you approached any JCLs or MCLs to get funding for this as well?
Yeah, we are in touch with reps in several common rooms. One has already passed a motion that was pertaining to the original coach organisation system but through MFJ. So it's kind of like mixed success. So thank you.
Right, we're going to go up there in the green jumper.
Dane Rogers, Merton College, he, him. So I possibly misunderstood you, the amendments, but I gathered that MFJ or Movement for Justice previously were, as I think the 17th, up to 215 out of £9,500. Since you're suggesting we fund Oxford Migrant Solidarity instead, could you tell me how much money they've raised and just give me some figures on that so I have some context, please?
Yeah, so the new situation is a weird and slightly indeterminate one, where we as Oxford Migrant Solidarity are looking to book a coach ourselves, possibly with the support of Close Campsfield, another local group that we work with who do their own fundraising. We don't have any money as OMS apart from what we raised for ventures like this, which is pretty rarely. So the estimate that we've given for a coach is based on having between 25 and 50 people come along, which is normally what happens from Oxford. And yeah, we're looking for other sources of funding from JCRs. We might have to subsidise it through people paying for their tickets.
Do we have a question or second row from the back there?
Joe Mansfield here. Roughly how many students have attended these protests before and how many do you expect to attend this time?
So to my knowledge, it's been, I think they normally book out around like 40 to 50 seater coach through MFJ, and I think it's normally full. Sometimes it's been like large delegations, around 50 people. I think when I went in November or December around last year, it was maybe more like 30. And currently, I don't know how many people are.
Yeah. I'm sorry, the allegations of abuse have come to light for MFJ literally in the last few days. We've amended this motion and we're coming here. We're trying to put this together really quickly and to find a way for the protest to go ahead, which is why we're not completely prepared for this. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Can I just have one more?
Yep.
Also, like regarding the coach sizes, the number that we've given from the quotes we've looked at so far, a 24-seater coach is like £517, and a 49-seater coach is like £560. So it's going to be within that region anyway. And there's not a lot of difference between going for a bit extra.
Right, so continuing short special questions. Yes, down here on the front row.
Hi, Katie, Oxford SU, she, her. Just a point of clarity, just because of the amendments and stuff like that. The council notes number 6, when you're talking about obviously MFJ and the money that they spent in the past and the money that they were intending on spending this year, that £215, is that money that you have raised to go towards the thing? So you don't have the £250, you're completely at zero?
Yeah,
okay.
That was on their crowdfunder website, just me trying to give an indication of...
Okay, and so with that in mind, and given the short amount of time that you've obviously got to raise this money, where are you thinking of getting the rest of, the £260 if we were to give you the 300?
So common rooms historically have been able to pass quite a lot of money. I think for the demonstration in spring 2016, several people got in the region of £100 to £200 from their common rooms. Similarly, if, for example, £300 was passed towards this coach, and then we asked everybody who came on it to pay £10, then we would cover it. Also, if we did work with Close Campsfield, they have reserves for fundraising that they do. There is, in fact, going to be an event being co-hosted by OMS and Coast Mansfield on the 13th. There might be a possibility of raising money there. So, but yeah,
That's great, thank you.
Still.
Right, I will take up to 2 more short factual questions. Do we have any more short factual questions? No, we don't. Would anybody like to give a speech in opposition to this motion? And are there any points of debate from the floor on this motion? Yes, up there.
Hi, Jack, he, him, Fordham College. So I went to a talk over the summer by Aderonke Apata, who founded African Rainbow Family, which is a support charity for LGBT people with African heritage. She was a Yarlswood detainee, and she was asked about protests at Yarlswood, and basically what she said was she really appreciated the activism, but she thought the money could be spent better now on like lobbying politicians, and that protesting aggravated guards and actually hurt some of the women inside. I was wondering if you would be in touch with any other LGBT communities who said different things, or if you've got about other ways.
I don't have names or links to videos on me right now, but there are a number of protesters from inside the Yarlswood who've spoken out about the positive effect it's had on their experience there. I know the last government report in 2015, there was at least 20% that were being depressed and suicidal, and there are mobile phones inside which they used to contact the organisers of the protests afterwards about the positive effects. It's very much people outside the centre and the women inside joining in with the protest, and it seemed to be a very positive thing that's coming from both sides. So that's not the impression I get is generally held by detainees, but again, I can't back that up with exact statistics right now, I'm afraid.
Thank you. Any further points in debate? None seen, so we are going to move to vote on this motion. So, 1 for, 2 against. Voting closes in 5, 4, 3, 2. If you vote for voting back, yes. 3, 2, 1. And the motion passes.
Oh, thank you so much.
Right, we now move on to motion number 4. I would remind members of council that we have a trigger warning for student fatality and cycling accidents. If you do not wish to participate in this discussion, you are welcome to not do that, and we ask that people speak sensitively and appropriately. Someone wants to discuss this motion. Do people still want to see this motion discussed and debated? Is there any opposition to this motion? Then this motion passes. Right, now motion number 5, which we do need to talk about because it's about amending the rules of council. So I'm going to invite the proposer of the motion to give a short speech of up to 2 minutes in proposition.
Hi, Katie, she, her, Oxford SU, VP for Women. Basically, I'm proposing this motion for the sake of cleaning things up. As you may have noticed, a lot of the council motions recently have been about governance changes or the adaptation and change of our various sort of government rulebooks and things like that. This is just one of those. There are a couple of concepts, basically, policies that would be better fit within the rules of council rather than the policy book, because the policy book is intended to be political statements, and how we work as an organisation is meant to be more in the rules of council. So for the sake of clarity and stuff like that, basically, we want to move the policy for trigger warnings, the vacancies of returning officer, and the council holding executive committee to account into the rules, because they're operational, the way that we work, rather than actual policies which have a political stance.
Thank you. Are there any short factual questions on this motion? Yes, in the green jumper.
Dean Rogers, Merton College, he, him. I've got a question about one of the rule changes, which is, I think, 7B3, where it says ensuring that nothing which could be considered ultra vires in contradiction to superseding governments of considerable organisational risk to Oxford SU or not of an illegal agenda, it needs to be added to the agenda. It seems a bit unclear to me from the edits. Are you proposing getting rid of this, or are you saying, or are you just getting rid of floor space? I'm not entirely clear on that point, and it seems if you are, that's quite a large change that's not had attention drawn to it within the actual motion text.
Okay, first of all, sorry, because I don't actually have all the amendments with me in the document, but I have been told that it is just adding. We're not removing anything, we're not changing anything in that respect, it's just adding.
Thank you. Any further short factual questions? Would anybody like to make a speech in opposition to this motion? And are there any points of debate on this motion? Okay, so as there's no opposition, this motion passes. That concludes the motions, and so unfortunately we're not going to be able to discuss the item for debate because Alex isn't here. Regarding any other business, I would like to remind people that the council review is ongoing, and so you should all voting members of council should have received a link to a survey that we would like you to fill in as part of this council review. We're basically trying to make council work as well as possible for you and for the student body at large. There will be a subsequent survey for all student members. Please fill that survey in. The deadline to complete it is 1 PM tomorrow. So you don't have very long, please just do it. Then any other business? I think we have some things here.
Katie, VP Women, she, her, Oxford SU. I'm going to be a bit cheeky basically and plug something that I forgot to plug in my little post-it notes. Basically, Kate, the SU president, and myself have been meeting with the Ashmolean, and we're going to be meeting with the various other museums over the year to try and collaborate with them further. The Ashmolean's really on board with this. They're really keen to get more student engagement, and they've given us 500 tickets specifically for Oxford SU members, so that you can go to the Live Friday event, which is happening this Friday from 7 PM. Basically, if you're interested in going, they're celebrating the birthday of Elias Ashmole, the founder, so it's going to be very 17th century themed and fancy dress and all that kind of stuff. They're always really fun. It's going to be free. They're really trying to prioritise that students get priority entry. So if you're interested, there's an Eventbrite link on our website. Please sign up, please get a ticket, please go. It'll be really fun. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other business? Right, so thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoy your week, and that's the end of this week's council.